So a couple of days ago, I was wrapping up a session with an artist, and then the following day came to the studio to continue working on that project, only to realize that it wouldn't load because it was corrupted, and I was having hard drive issues, and my heart sank. I think this is probably one of the worst scenarios anyone who's producing music could find themselves in, not being able to get access to their projects because it's either lost and they never backed it up. Well, in this video, I want to share with you some survival file management tips that can help you avoid this tragedy. What's up, everyone? This is Ill Factor from beatacademy.com, and I want to share with you some pro file management tips when it comes to producing music. And I want to cover the rule of 3 when it comes to backing up your work. So the first tip when it comes to proper file management is working on a separate drive. So if you're just starting out in producing music and you're working on maybe a DAW that you just installed into your computer, whether it's a Windows or a Mac, you might be excited and start saving your files directly on the hard drive that's located on your machine. And that's cool, but you should definitely start considering to working and saving all your work on a separate hard drive. So tip number 1 is save your work on a separate, either external or installing another drive that you can store all your work on. This is what I would encourage you to actually save all the work that you're saving, recording, and working on from your DAW. So your internal drive, the drive that comes with your computer, is the drive in which you're going to store all your applications, your plugins, and the DAW itself. That's all the applications and stuff that you're going to be working and using. Then your external drive or your separate drive is where you're going to be storing all your work. That's where you save all the data from your DAW, whether it's on Logic, Ableton, FL Studio, Pro Tools. You want to get in the habit of saving your work on a separate external drive. Now, there's a couple of reasons for this, not just that you're having it on a separate drive, but it also gives you better performance. You're optimizing the performance off of your machine when all the work is saved on a separate hard drive. If you start to save all your work on the internal drive and you start to lose space on your internal drive, it can actually slow down the machine that you're working on. So it's best that you save all your work here on out, especially if you're just starting, on a separate hard drive. Next, I would also encourage you and recommend that you store all your sound libraries on a separate hard drive. So what I mean by that is you could either use the same one hard drive and partition it, which means that you're internally splitting the space that you have. Let's say this is a 1 terabyte drive, then you're allocating 500 gigabytes for your work drive and then 500 gigabytes for your sound library. But I would recommend that you store all your sounds on a separate hard drive as well. Now, this is where you would store your native instruments or your sound libraries from acoustic drum packs, or I save all my native instruments samples in there. I'll save all my addictive drum samples and even all my sample library folders, such as things I download from Splice, sounds.com, any samples that I plan on using, all the sounds, even my DAW sound libraries that I can install from the website of Ableton Live. I want to make sure that I'm storing them on a sound library drive. That way, it just becomes easier to allocate. I know that all my sounds are on one drive and all my work file and sessions are on another drive. And that gives me a lot more space for my work, and it separates the sound library on another drive. Now, the third tip, and this is what we're going to focus on, the rule of 3. And this is when it comes to backing up. And this is very important. Obviously, you want to back up your work, right? But there's a rule of 3 that you should probably consider when it comes to backing up your work. So back again, you've got your work drive. Then what you want to do is make a copy of that. That's rule 1. That's the first step. So you've got a copy of that one. Then you want to make a copy of that or your sound library, both drives, however you want to do it. Then you make another copy. So you're having 2 copies. So you've got a backup of the backup. That seems a bit excessive, but it'll work. Then the third part of this, rule 3, is that you have another backup, but this one should be away from the office. This should be off-site. This is your off-site copy. In case a herd of giraffes or wildebeest run through your studio and destroy everything, hey, life happens. you want to be able to have a copy that's off-site. Now, this is where cloud storage can come into play. And there are many different options, whether it's Dropbox or Google Drive. I've just recently ran into a company called P Drive. And the reason why you can consider cloud storage here for the third option is because it would be your off-site option. And the advantages of cloud storage is that you can remotely access that with an internet connection, and you could instantly have access to your files. So if you're moving around or you're working remotely, you can just sync up your folders so that any new additions that you've made to your projects will be updated and that you will be storing and backing up the latest version of those files. And that's really cool. So a system like P Drive allows me to sync my folders from my work drive to a cloud storage drive. And what's important is this specific drive doesn't live on my internal drive. It doesn't live in my computer, similar to what Dropbox does. And so this is just an clearly cloud-based external drive that syncs up with my folder so that anytime I'm updating it, or you can set it to hourly or maybe every 12 hours, however you want to set the rate that you sync your folders and you back them up, I will have the latest version that I'm working on. And then when I go home or I'm in another studio, I can easily access those files from that cloud-based storage. So I would definitely just look into which one seems your budget or works well when it comes to storage and what's going to work best for you. Now, a word of caution here. I know a couple people who work directly onto a cloud-based system, such as, hey, I'll just work directly onto Dropbox, or I'll save all my work directly on Dropbox. That way it's always in the cloud and things like that. And I've heard that it works for some people, and I've heard that it actually has lessened the performance overall of their DAW. So you definitely just want to look into how it's going to affect your DAW performance when saving directly onto a cloud-based system. But overall, what we're covering here is that you need to have some kind of file management when it comes to working on your music, because just saving it on your laptop alone isn't going to cut it. So, rule 1, make sure that you're working and saving all your work, whether it's recording and writing your DAW project files, onto a separate hard drive. 2, be sure to actually allocate another drive that you can store all your sound libraries on. And then 3, stick to the rule of 3 when it comes to your backup plan. Back up your hard drive, back up that work, then back up that backup, and then use an off-site backup for your files. You can never be too safe. You can never be too secure when it comes to this, because things happen. And as I shared with you at the beginning of this video, you never know when you're going to have to cling on to that those off-site drives to save the day. So I hope this video was helpful in just sharing some tips about file management that can avoid the tragedies of not being able to access your files. So if you found this video helpful, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel so you can stay up to date with upcoming videos. And if you're looking for professional guidance with producing your music, you're looking for someone to help you and help you take that next step forward with your music production, then I want to encourage you to visit beatacademy.com. Take advantage of all the resources that I have available for you there. There are many different courses that I spent a lot of time developing and creating to help you get better at producing music. But not only just courses, there's many mentorship opportunities with myself and other leading professionals in the industry that can help pour into you and help you achieve your musical goals. So if you're serious and you're looking for professional guidance with producing your own music, then check out beatacademy.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.